Good evening. I am Agrod. I'm the founder and CEO of Splinterlands, and it is my pleasure to be here with you on this glorious town hall. It's just now 8 p.m. on the East Coast. I know that it's a different time for everybody all over the world, but from my perspective, good evening, everybody. Um, this is a special month. It is a very special month for us because this is the month that both Matt and I consider the 5th anniversary of Splinterlands. I don't know if you know this, but there's not a lot of projects that can be in this space and tell you that they've been around and operating in the United States for 5 years in the cryptocurrency landscape, the altcoin existence, even there's just not a lot. And we've been here, we've been doing this, we've been building, we've been doing all the things. And so it's amazing. It's such an honor and such a privilege to be here, and really excited for that. And so I'm welcoming all of you. Many of you are the Salt Lords out of our Monster Maverick Discord room, and it's a pleasure to have the folks that spend their days and their salty lust for power and glory, and really just like figuring out their positions and what they want out of this game and their vision, and trying to infect as many other humans with their vision as humanly possible. So I know that I'm teasing you guys, but it's amazing to see. Democracy sometimes gets messy. So, but it's okay. Glad to have you guys here. Okay, so the very first thing I want to go do is kind of introduce the team members, or let them introduce themselves. So if we could go hop over to a quick team stand up, and then just kind of let the folks go. I see Cryptomancer, then Nate, then Weirdbeard, then Investigator, and we got Ali on this too. So Ali can go do a quick introduction, and he'll be able to share too. But if everybody can just give their kind of table of contents, what are you going to be talking about this evening, and maybe one sentence about who you are.
Hello, everyone. I'm Cryptomancer, one of the main devs for the game, and I will be talking about a brand new big project coming soon for guilds, namely Guild Points.
I think it's me now, right, Nate? So I am going to go over creative stuff. Probably talk a little bit about land.
I've heard about this land project. Interested to hear about it.
Yeah.
Weirdbeard?
Hello, I am Weirdbeard. I am the guy who does lots of stuff around here. Today I'm talking about the success we had with the Nifty Arcade Ghost Card Tournament that happened over the weekend, some of the things that we're looking at for the future going into our next planning session, and just general positivity that I'm bringing to the team here.
Investigator?
Let's see. I am one of the product owners and a developer, and do a lot of things as well, though not quite as much as Weirdbeard maybe. But and I'm here to talk about the upcoming release tomorrow and anything else we might want to talk about.
Sweet. And Ali?
Hey everyone, Ali Madavji, Managing Partner at Blockchain Founders Fund. We're advisors and investors in Splinterlands and representatives of the foundation. And I know a lot of people have questions about one, the anti-bot proposal, and two, a number of things going on around the foundation and DAO. And so happy to answer any questions around that.
Sweet. So there's your table of contents for tonight. If you have, hopefully you'll see all the stuff. So let's go head over. We're going to do a foundation and DAO segment with Ali, and then we'll move on from there. But Ali, it's a lot of stuff that you do, and I'm not sure that everybody understands this. So if I just want to give like a super brief background. I think I met Ali back in 2019, and that. Ali's background, he sold an exchange, he started an accelerator, and that it progressed to a venture firm. And we met him after he started the exchange, right around the time he was starting that accelerator, and prior to him having elevated his firm up to a full-fledged venture capital firm. And he's been advising us, I think since 2019. We do weekly board meetings. Ali has been doing those literally for years with us. And helping to guide the direction of this company. And in that process, when we initially envisioned a DAO and quickly found that Ali was the right person to be at the helm of that and really lead the DAO and the foundation. And that's the fastest high level version of that I think I could do. Would you like to give some flavor around? You wear a lot of hats around here. Anything else you'd like to add or change about my description there?
No, that's fantastic. I mean, we're huge believers in what you and Matt and the team have been building. I think when we started playing, there was like in the hundreds of users when we started playing Splinterlands, and I still remember the first time we got involved in Splinters. I think we might have met at the end of 2018 or early 2019 in Singapore, and we thought it was really cool, so we decided to start playing Splinterlands. And I started skipping all my meetings. We started playing Splinterlands all day. And from there, I think it's history, right? So we've invested many times now into the company, and just big believers in what the community and what you're trying to build here.
Okay. Can you give a little philosophy of being a VC in this space now? Like what do you look for in projects that come along your way? I know that you're kind of across all the different, disciplines of crypto. What does it take to get you sort of excited about a project?
It takes a lot. I mean, just to give everyone context, we looked at 632 companies last month, right? So that's sort of the number of companies we're going through in the Web3 space on a monthly basis. We now have over 100 portfolio companies that we've invested in over the last 6 years about. So a lot of different things. Having said that, Splinterlands is actually the company I probably spend the most of my time on, out of our portfolio over the years, right? And we've got a lot that we look through. When we're evaluating companies, we probably have about 90 different things that we look at to evaluate founders and startups. And we look at ourselves quite different from a lot of other VCs. Our philosophy is that, we're there to support the company and be part of the journey sort of for the very long run, right? So we have, very extended sort of time horizons. We're in this for the long run with our companies, and we're there to, help you solve a lot of challenges, right? And I think from the early days, we've worked on everything from, feedback on everything from UI to gameplay to, I still remember working with your marketing team, even on like social media processes, right? Mansoor and myself. And so, we worked on a lot of different things over the years with Splinterlands to help, try to help the team become world class on some of these different aspects. And, you guys have obviously led the way in terms of, product and building out features that no one's seen in the industry before that have, trailblazed a lot of, the great things that we have now today.
So Matt and I were on the foundation briefly, and we said, we really can't be mixing the corporate side of things and the foundation side. It isn't legally clean. It isn't, it isn't the best practice. We want it to have independent, leadership and independent processes, and it shouldn't be dependent on Matt and I, because Matt and I have a fiduciary responsibility to this company and have a different relationship with the community than whatever entity or whoever is at the helm of the foundation. And so we sort of very quickly realized that the right person to be at the helm of this is you. Do you want to share any of your sort of like high level vision of what role you think the foundation plays, or how you think about the foundation as part of this ecosystem?
Yeah, absolutely. So, with the foundation, we've got, as everyone knows, so we have some cash essentially on our balance sheet, right? Which is from the last couple of years. It's been, fairly constant. And then we've got, some tokens that were from the white paper, right? And in reality, I mean, there hasn't been any decisions that we've made from a foundation perspective that wasn't just from essentially DAO votes, right? So, I mean, there's basically, there might be some small maintenance fees to keep the foundation operating and sort of basic sort of, renewal fees, stuff like this. But apart from anything like that, I mean, the way I look at it is, we're at sort of the disposal of the community, and that's where the DAO comes in, and that's what we're adhering to, right? So there hasn't been things that we've been doing that aren't voted or endorsed essentially from the DAO.
Yeah, so it's we need minor maintenance. We need there are a handful of commercial agreements or things that we do, or that I shouldn't say we. It's the foundation needs to go, continue its fees for its governance and its registration and whatever else it does. So there's little things, and those little things require a signature. But my not my sentiment, but my experience with the DAO is similar to what you're saying. Of the foundation is really like a limited structure that is basically a proponent of the DAO, and what the DAO wants, is basically what the foundation does. I don't know if it'll always be that way. I don't know if I don't know that Ali will do this role forever. But I think when looking at who takes the reins at some later date, the goal is going to be to find people that recognize that we're really here in service of this community, rather than just always thinking of ourselves as the best or brightest or the bold leaders. It's we're really here as facilitators for what the community is really trying to do. All right, I have a whole bunch of questions here, basically 2 pages of questions, and I want to try to get through these to the best of my ability. Ali, share whatever you want. Feel free to skip over answers if something feels too political or too spicy or something. You are not under the gun here. You don't. It is best to answer what we feel comfortable with, but I just want to share that I support whatever answer and however you feel like you want to structure that. So Reality, I know it's out of order, but if you could share the town hall questions. I went and I took some of those questions out of the sort of like general approach to questions, and I put a whole bunch of them at the top so that, Ali, who is on limited time, we can sort of like plow through these. So the first question is about the board. And I put this here because I wanted to just share that there are separate legal entities here. The Splinterlands, it has a different corporation, and that corporation has a board, like and that board is comprised of some of the biggest investors that are part of the company, and they make decisions around what do we do next, what do we prioritize, what payments do we do, how do we structure investments and all that other stuff. The sort of like high level strategic decision making of the company lives at the board level. Ali serves on that board. And so I want to be clear that he does wear a lot of hats around here. The advisors, there's no payment that's going out to any of the board people right now. And so there's no payroll. There's not like a token supply that goes out. And that's the board. That's the people that help make strategic decisions. Ali is on that. And that is separate from the foundation. So let's head into the DAO. Does the DAO have a head or a chairman? If so, why? How would you explain the relationship of foundation head and maybe the DAO? Is there a DAO chairman?
Yeah, it's a good question. Let me sort of explain maybe the foundation structure a little bit, just broadly, and then I can sort of answer that on the DAO, right? So the foundation is, it's essentially a nonprofit. It's a foundation, right? So it's out of Singapore. I'm essentially the representative, is essentially the word that they use for it in Singapore. And what that means, just to give everyone an idea, it's not similar to like a C corp. It's very different. If the DAO were to shut down, the funds do not go to me. That's not how it works. If you got a C corp and you shut it down, the funds would go to whoever has ownership in it. There is no ownership structure of a foundation.
Yeah, I was going to ask, are there shares? Do you own any shares of the foundation?
Not at all. So there are no shares. That's not how foundations work. It's a completely different structure. So that's not how it works. So the DAO, does the DAO have a head or chairman? would say no. I mean, the DAO, the way I look at it, the DAO is essentially, what you're seeing in terms of the community. And I would say that Splinterlands has one of the most vibrant communities that I've seen for DAOs. If any of you were at Consensus last week, which is one of the biggest Web3 conferences, I actually did a panel on essentially land in metaverses and talking about DAO and governance. So it was basically myself, sort of cheerleading for Splinterlands, and then there was another representative from Maxi. But the way I look at it is there's no real way to control the DAO, which is good, right? If you look at a lot of other projects in the Web3 space, and someone says, go talk to these 2 or 3 people and you'll get, proposals passed, you'll get whatever you want from the DAO. Like, that is not a DAO, right? That's a broken structure. I think, as you can see here, at least, when I've looked in the past, there's, 200, 300, 400 million votes on some of these different proposals, right? In terms of the amount of SPS. And that's fantastic, because there isn't any party that can just swing that entire vote, with 50% of the voting power or anything like that, including us or anyone else, right? Which is good. I think that actually creates a much more accountable structure. And if anyone actually researches DAOs, I actually think this is one of the best examples out there of a functioning DAO.
All right. Where can I find info about the legal structure? I guess we shared that it's a Singapore-based foundation. Is this information available and transparent? We don't like to draw too much attention to this, but it is out there. In what case would it be possible to enter into an arrangement or transaction that was not authorized by a DAO vote? Would SPS holders have any recourse in the case of such an incident? Thoughts on that, Ali?
I mean, it's never come up. It's not something we've ever done either. I mean, the funds are multi-sigged, so I mean, I don't think it would either way matter. Like, I can't move the funds of the DAO by myself, so I actually don't think this is even possible.
Are there any existing corporate bylaws that govern the DAO SPS voting process, which we should be aware of as we are starting to understand the DAO's governance processes?
I'd have to check on that. I mean, the way that I've looked at it is we're just at the disposal of the DAO, right? There has been 0 decisions that we've done that would have any concerns over the way I look at it in terms of from the DAO perspective.
What are the limits of SPS voters with regards to directing the affairs of the DAO outside of the distribution of SPS? For example, if a DAO vote was passed that wasn't relating to SPS distributions, but directed at corporate affairs of the foundation instead, like a vote to publish the actual audited financial statements of the foundation, or to appoint an independent representative from the player base as an officer or director of the foundation, would that be binding?
It's a good question. So a couple of things. One, if it was related to the affairs of the foundation, so to publish audit and actual financial statement. So I am a former auditor. I don't know if many of you know that. I used to be at PricewaterhouseCoopers or PwC. I think that could be something that we do if everyone voted for it. Personally, I would see this as a terrible waste of money. It's like a 30-second audit. I mean, there's assets on chain and there's only assets on chain. So like I mean, it's something that anyone could look at in 30 seconds and see what's going on. So personally, I would just see this as a really big waste of money, but because basically the auditor would have nothing else to look at. It's just that. So that, like, because there's no cash in a bank that's not on chain or anything like this, right?
Yeah, and
so yeah.
The other thing is that, like, there's there's some governing documents, but whenever if anything ever came to that, like I find it unlikely that the foundation heads solely on their own would do anything. They would start looking to legal counsel to be like, "Well, how do we handle
That's
this?" Or if there's something like, drastically different than just support the DAO and what they're doing, there's probably legal counsel involved. So when you guys start getting specific, it's like, well, we can answer what we think, but it's probably coming down to attorneys and what they tell us we can and can't do. Whether that's Splinterlands as a company, whether that's a foundation, the reality of operating any kind of legal entity these days is that, you get attorneys involved. What is Ali's role in the Blockchain Founders Fund role within Splinterlands and the DAO? I think we've answered that. What commitments, responsibilities do they have? Do you have commitments or responsibilities that you want to share?
from a blockchain founders fund perspective within Splinterlands. I mean,
Well, either what I mean, you wear enough hats. So, you have BFF, you have the Splinterlands company, and you have the DAO. Are there any specific commitments or responsibilities that you want to share from any three of those roles?
yeah, so happy to. I mean, I am one of the founders of Blockchain Founders Fund. We are a licensed Singapore venture capital firm. So we are one of the first Web3 funds to be regulated in Singapore, which is not an easy process for anyone that's familiar with Singapore. And we've invested a fair bit of capital in Splinterlands. We've been involved from a pretty early point in the company's history, and we're just big proponents, right? Like we're basically mega fans and cheerleaders, which is why we do the things that we do. Every conference we go to, most interviews, if you check out some of the interviews that we've done, we're trying to help grow the community and grow interest. I still think that Splinterlands is one of the hidden gems of Web3, right? When you look at how incredible the community is, how incredible some of the numbers are, some of the innovations, like Aggie and Matt and team, invented things like rental markets for NFTs and have done billions of rentals. And I'm still seeing companies put on their roadmap that they want to build rental markets in 2024. I mean, Splinterlands has been live with rentals for a long time, right? So, I see part of my roles and responsibilities is just to help get, some recognition, visibility, and, best effort of helping to grow this community, with everyone here, right?
So how does this relate to BFF staked SPS? I guess, do you feel that with your stake that, you have keys for, do you feel like you have certain commitments or responsibilities with that SPS?
Like, yes, but maybe I look at it a different way. I think at the end of the day, the way I look at it is everyone here that's spending their time on this town hall and the Discord, on the game, like all of us essentially have the same objective, right? We're all looking at how do we better Splinterlands and the ecosystem. Now, we don't always have the same way of how to get to that answer. We might differ sometimes in the way to get to that answer. And then we all learn from it, right? We hear different opinions and viewpoints, and then we, sometimes change the way we look at things, right? And that's how we learn, right? But I think at the end of the day, the fact that everyone's spending time here, we're all sort of looking towards achieving the same types of goals.
Was TerraBlock chosen because Ali is an investor there? I'll answer that. The answer is no. TerraBlock was chosen because we thought they were confident. The introduction was made because Ali has a connection with them, but they weren't chosen simply because Ali was an investor. Like, they had the skills. That's what their business focuses on. I think the bridge has done really well. So they were chosen for their competency, not because of their connections. The introduction was because of their relationship, but that's not why we chose them. So some suggestions and feedback for Blockchain Founders Fund. Thank you very much for reconsidering your position and taking time to write about it. Separately, we have received one financial transparency report, which was limited to a snapshot of current balances and wallet addresses. I think the community would value an expanded financial view. So just so you guys know, the snapshot of current balances those wallet addresses are still valid. Everything that was in that report is still valid. Maybe we can do some occasional reporting or something on it, but you don't need anything other than some block explorers to go figure out what the foundation holds. There's not secret slush fund accounts or dumb things like that. What was in that last one is currently still there. So that's even something that community members can do. So if you want, you can kind of dive into the last report and update it. It's possible we could do that. Do you have thoughts about?
Yeah, let me jump in there, right? I think that if anyone were to just do what you just said and look at the block explorer, I think you'll realize very quickly there's extremely limited expenses here. Like I don't get paid from like the cash from the DAO or anything like this, right? Like there's none of that happening. It's essentially like there is some small agreements that are there on the DAO, and then there's like maintenance of the DAO. But like if you go look at it, you'll basically realize really quickly there's like the vast majority is essentially fairly constant.
Yeah, it's boring. So we could go publish it. I don't think that there's much fight to that. You guys can certainly publish it because it's all there. There's not a fiat bank account sitting somewhere. So there's not some like hidden balance that you guys can't see. It's literally whatever was in the last financial report. If you update it, you can see it there. I'm not sure that we need a financial liaison. If somebody has like blockchain 101, they can continue, they could update it every single day if they want. There's probably not going to be a lot to change. Now, some of these questions are going to be like a little overlapping because they're not completely set. And I don't want to go much more than like maybe 10 more minutes. So let's try to power through a couple of these, and I might kick in some fast answers here. Can you help us understand where there are potential legal reasons for limited visibility into the legal structure, officers, and individuals with signing authority on behalf of the DAO? Does disclosure increase your perception of risk to the SPS DAO players and/or Splinterlands and Steam monsters? Yeah, we don't. There's going to be players that are bad actors and people that are just not helpful. So this information isn't necessarily hidden, but I don't see tons of reasons why we want to constantly be publishing it out there and getting it out there. Ali is generous with his time to come on and just be a literal face for the foundation. But players are that we are a game direct to the public, and the public can sometimes be very time-consuming nuisances, and we don't want that impacting all the officers around here. Who are the other officers of the foundation? There are none. Which individuals have authority as per corporate resolutions or other bylaws to enter into contracts on behalf of the DAO? That would be Ali. In what cases would it be possible to enter into an arrangement or transaction that was not authorized by the DAO? We need an attorney to answer that. And would SBS holders have any recourse in the case of such an incident? We need an attorney for that. Did I misspeak with any of those, Ali?
No, but given the assets are multi-sig based, I mean, it can't happen like from an asset perspective.
Okay. Are there, I'm skipping 3 because we already answered it. And then I'm moving on to 4 and kind of one last question here. 4, are there any existing corporate bylaws that govern the DAO SPS voting process, which we should be aware? Actually, I think we did that. What are the limits of SPS voters with regard to directing the affairs of the DAO outside the distribution of SPS? Again, that would kind of require an attorney to answer. I think I actually already covered that. So, I guess I have 2 last questions for you. What is the plan for listings now that the proposal has passed? So we passed that thing as a community. There's now 30 million SPS to go direct. What are your thoughts on if and when any of that money is spent for listings?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, we've been fairly cautious. I'll explain why. I think many of you are probably aware of some of the challenges with exchanges in the United States. You might have heard about Bittrex, closing shop, moving. There's others considering to move. Coinbase mentioned they're considering to move. And so, looking at U.S. exchanges, we've been fairly hesitant on just because we don't know necessarily how the environment will change. Will some of those players be there even in 12 months from now, which obviously is not great if we did any sort of deals that consumed a fair bit of, say, SPS, and then they weren't around in 12 months. It wouldn't be, I think, very prudent. So we've been fairly hesitant on that front. In a little bit of a similar aspect, that US mindset or regulatory challenges, I think, also pose challenges for other exchanges around the world, where you're already seeing US regulators go after international exchanges. And so we do want to make sure, and we're also hearing sort of behind closed doors different financial challenges. You've probably seen public statements from some of the market makers like GSR stopping to support certain exchanges due to concerns on their financial stability. So, and that's just one example. There's many others, but with that, we need to be very cautious, right? Like, the worst thing that can happen, I'm not saying that we can entirely prevent this, right? But the worst thing in my mind would happen is we make some sort of commitment that we foresee as positive for the community, but we maybe don't pay as much attention as we should in terms of financial stability of said platform, and that platform is not there then 6 months or 12 months from now. Like, that would be not a great scenario, right? We can't always prevent these things. I mean, I don't think everyone saw each of these exchanges shutting down from miles away, but there are things that we can identify early, and we want to be cautious on. So that's part of it. We are in a bunch of conversations, but we're also trying to make sure we're quite prudent and cautious on this.
All right, and my last question goes to the bot voting proposal. This one's been fairly contentious, and I know that you've spoken to people, you've put out a response about why you're voting, maybe how you got to the vote that you're at now. Is there anything you'd like to share at a high level or even in the weeds about how you view this proposal, why you voted, and maybe just some general guidelines of like how you have a big vote around here. How do you envision using that vote?
Yeah, it's a good question, right? I mean, the way I look at it is, our objective, the same as everyone else here, is to make decisions that we think are the best for the community. And as I mentioned earlier, we always are learning more. We're understanding different points of view, and continue to refine our thought process. And here, I am actually pro potential bots and AI in general, from like a high level thesis perspective. Having said that, I do think that from our conversations with people on both sides, I think, it is clear that I think everyone essentially recognizes there can be a problem around like user experience. There can be a problem around, farming excessive rewards, that can be an issue. And, and I think that frustrating user experience is a big problem. And so I'm open to, and the reason why we changed our vote is, from those conversations, we realized that it would be quite beneficial to test the hypothesis of, trying out an area or a type of mode where there are no bots, and then let's see how that goes. And the best way we can all learn is using data, and then we can reassess. But I think in the long run, the way I look at it is I do see a world where bots, AI are continuing to be more and more prevalent. And so if we can find a way to democratize access to this effectively for all players, and figure out how to minimize some of the negative aspects that come from bots, then I think it could be a really good thing in the long run to allow and create a fair and transparent sort of ecosystem where bots, humans, everyone are sort of in there, and we level the playing field. So that's sort of our thought process around it. And so we did change to being in favor of the proposal for essentially against bots for this mode. But for me, it's more around, testing it out, seeing it. And as a community, I do think we need to figure out this in the long term going forward, how we can coexist, because I do think it'll become more and more necessary.
All right. Well, Allie, is there, I guess I said that was my last question, but I lied. Is there anything else you'd like to share? This is my actual last question. Anything else that you want to bring to the table? Anything that we missed, or anything that you want to kind of leave the community with?
Yeah, I think that, some people, because I saw some of the comments where people think we switched our vote. I think because a lot of people, went one way or the other. I mean, realistically, I think we were sort of on the cusp, right? And the real reason we changed it is because we do believe this could be good to test, and the data and learning from it and seeing if customer, user experience gets better, I think is important. In the future, we will try to be more transparent if we're and share maybe more of our viewpoints if we are going to go into any votes that are maybe more contentious, or at least we can strive to do that. Happy to be on more town halls. But I think at the end of the day, like I said, all of us are all working towards the same goal of doing what we think is best for this ecosystem. The one thing that I can say I came away with here that is really, really encouraging is this is one of the best communities in Web3, and the passion and interest and everyone, spending their time here is very reassuring. Like, this is really, really cool. It's really exciting. And it's great. Like, this is what we need, and this is how we build better, faster, stronger together.
Yeah, totally agree. Allie, I gotta say, it has been a pleasure to be working with you. I benefit greatly by your experience, from your connections in the crypto space, to your thoughtfulness as an accountant and financial advisor, to your passion as a community member, to the service that you provide by helping with the foundation and setting these things up. And there's not a lot that's in this platform that hasn't had some touch of Allie and your team and that entire blockchain founders fund. I don't think that we'd be anywhere near as big or as successful as we have been without you and without your team. So you have my wholehearted thanks and appreciation and gratitude, and just thanks for being part of this community. Thanks for helping to guide us, and thanks for constantly being an advocate for this community, literally all over the world as you travel everywhere. So thanks so much for your service to this community, and thanks for helping us.
Thank you. You're too kind. Thanks so much.
All right.
Chat soon.
Well, that's Allie. If you can't be happy with that as a board member, then you are just a person that is completely impossible to satisfy. That man is fantastic and a blessing to have. I think we're going next to
Harry.
the Investigator so that he can go tell us about the release that's coming up. So, Mr. Harry or Mr. Investigator, if you could go tell us kindly, what's on the docket for tomorrow.
Okay. Well, good evening. So the big thing for tomorrow is the rollout of the new promo card. So the Zerial, if I'm pronouncing it right, is going to be available a few hours after the update. So, well, it may not seem like a big deal. It's kind of a big deal because we've changed the code to support multicolored cards. There may only be one right now, but it's a significant improvement to the game.
Yeah, I think it's like a giant change to the game, and one that I'm hoping that this is the first of more than one. But this is definitely the first one. This is our test case, and I'm excited to see how this works. And some thought in my brain is that you're literally getting two legendaries in one. That's what my brain tells me. You're getting two legendaries in one. You are getting a life legendary and a death legendary, and that seems rather powerful to me. Maybe that is not how everybody in this community feels, but that's how my brain is comprehending this card right now. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, you're getting essentially a life and death card that you can play for in one, so it's definitely something interesting. And it's very nice artwork too, which give Nate some credit for when it comes on later.
All right. So that's our big one. Is there other stuff that you'd like to add, or is there other stuff on the docket?
Yeah, it's a relatively quiet update, but as a couple people noticed on the Mav server, there is a new rules set that we'll be adding tomorrow. We're calling it Born Again from the creative team, and it gives all monsters the rebirth ability.
Jeez, that's going to be a never-ending battle. It's going to be like fighting Cube.
Yeah, a lot of martyr creatures going out probably on those ones.
Everybody dies. It's basically going to be Hamlet. It's gonna have some Hamlet inspirations. That it's like everybody's getting murdered left and right. I guess the rebirth isn't really part of Hamlet, but just the sheer amount of death should be there.
Yeah. There's also some changes we're making to the market that overall aren't really going to be too visible right now, but we're starting to add more recording of card information at the time of purchase. Right now, there's kind of a lack of that. I know some people who like look up history of peak monsters have found that if you look up a card that you bought and then combined, it looks like you bought it as a combined card because the way the history like loads up. So we're making some changes that going forward we'll be able to accurately report what the level of the card was at the time it was sold. And we're going to also be using these changes to start to improve the performance of the market and hopefully finally get to the point where we can get more performant results and results that can be queried with limits and set ordering. Basically, so people don't have to pull all the cards when they want to look at one of the cards on the market.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. Because that's also money out the door. I know we weren't necessarily building this with hey, we're going to have millions of transactions. Actually, it's like billions of transactions probably at this point. So I don't think that when Matt was originally designing this, if there's one flaw in Matt's an incredible human being and just one of the most thoughtful human beings. But if he has a gap, it's planning for outrageous success. He has so much of concern around will any of this stuff work at any given time. He might be bullish on certain things, but just as a human, he's nothing's ever going to succeed. This is a little hyperbole, but if Matt has one gap, in my experience, it's planning around drastic success. So I don't, we got to do that after the fact of wow, this has been remarkably successful. Now we have to plan around that after the fact. So that's just a little lighthearted ribbing of Matt. But it seems like this week isn't that bad. We get a promo card that is a Splinterlands based promo card. It is not a community based promo card. The revenue is going to Splinterlands. It's a way for you guys to use some DEC, help support the company. This has been a rough first half of the year, probably the worst first half of the year on record for company history. So getting a little revenue in the door wouldn't hurt us. So hopefully you guys support this. Hopefully you're excited about basically getting 2 legendary cards in one and realizing that not only is it a legendary card, it's pretty badass. And I think that people are going to like it. Anything else on the docket for today, Mr. Investigator?
A few other things for tomorrow. We fixed a minor UI issue on currency activity where navigating from the unclaimed tab to the DEC tab would sometimes fail to load. We made some improvements to the selected Rooney that shows up when you're playing so that it'll better persist across devices. We made some fixes for the issues that came up last week with maintenance mode, where some people were getting that the game was not showing as being in maintenance when everything was down. There are some UI updates to some of the land views to add some pagination for better performance. And I think that is about it for things that are going out tomorrow. The market update to the database, the changes we're going to be making to the database may take a little bit. That'll probably be the longest part of the update. But it should set us up for some nice performance improvements in the near future.
All right. Well, thank you, Investigator. Thanks for keeping the lights on, keeping us going. I know that you downplay your role. You are a humble man, but you're amazing. We're so grateful you're here. This man is very responsible for keeping the lights on and keeping this product running. And all these upgrades are a testament to your ability. Thank you for being here, Harry. Thanks for helping us, and you rock. So that's our update.
Have a good night.
Thank you. Next up, I don't really remember what we're doing. We have, I think, Splinterlands TV. Is that Mr. Rondon? Oh, Mr. Rondon. Hey, I'm sorry. It's hard for me to go keep all the things in mind. As you know yourself, I am the worst DJ that has ever DJ'd in DJ Hood.
And it doesn't help that I keep switching around the order that everybody's coming on too.
Yeah.
I didn't want to follow Nate anymore. Like, how do you follow that, right?
Here's some. You have to be the eye candy.
Right.
Look at that fine beard, sir. Yeah. We got to do some. What is it? Burlesque? Is that what they call that? Yeah. Me and you. That's what's happening next. All right, I want to get these shout outs out of the way. Here's my humbling of myself, but also you guys don't make this easy for me. So I see Pero 82. We see Oda Krieger. We see Jobby Saints, Solving Chaos, Slow Carls, Game World TT, Donut Lord, and Larkin 360. Oh, and one other gentleman, Boo Tops.
No,
or maybe that's Butt Ups. That's somebody different. Butt
yeah,
Ups.
if I had to guess, and I don't know who that is actually, I actually have no idea.
Is that a little mockery there? Maybe.
I think that's Ape of Wall Street changing his name to Butt Ups.
Nice. That sounds like the exact kind of snark that you might expect out of the Splinterlands community. Which is exactly why. So I saw somebody post up here about Splinterlands salt shakers, and I'm in love with this idea. The next time that we do anything like physical, where there's going to be a physical thing that we ship, Splinterlands salt shakers is absolutely going to be it. How amazing would that be?
Well, the logistics on that kind of intrigue me. I mean, you can get a lot of stuff. You can get water bottles made. You can get like hats and T-shirts and all that drop shipped. Salt shakers, I don't know if that's a thing, but we'll see.
It's a thing.
It's got to be.
It's got to be. It's 100% a thing somewhere. It just how hilarious would that be?
With Artemis?
I don't know. I think it would just be the Monster Mouth logo. We don't need to get like super clever here, but all the Salt Lords in Mavs would definitely want their salt shakers. So
we'll throw it over to Nate's team, and they'll knock it out of the park like they always do.
Well, they might over-engineer it, to be honest. Like, well, we've done this 3D rendering for the past 4 months, and here it is.
We were going to do it this way, but the lore really makes sense this way.
There you go. Just a little ribbon, Nate. It's just because we love you, bud.
He's gonna have his chance. He's gonna have his chance later.
Okay. So Ron, I hear Splinterlands TV might have a thing called the clip of the week. Is that a thing?
Yeah, it does. It does. We can get right into that. So this week, Vinap Boys, one of our longtime Spanish streamers, is he kind of showed off his skills this week, and I actually had no idea. I was really impressed. So yeah, guys, check it out.
Entonces, bueno. Vamos a darle comienzo a la batalla. Vamos a ver que además la música nos trae un poco de suerte hoy.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so we got some really entertaining people there on Splinterlands TV, full of talent, full of talent.
That was even better than my banjo skills. That's great. I like all these clips. I like seeing all the talent. I like to see the energy, the enthusiasm, the skill sets. Sometimes it's about the playing, sometimes it's just about the culture and the crazy group of people that make up this community. Pretty awesome.
Absolutely. And guys, I don't know if you guys heard about this. Ape in April is officially over.
That's sad.
It kind of is. I mean, we gave away, I think,
2,000 views.
I think it was like 1,600 views.
Yeah, that's a lot of views.
It was a lot of views, but you know what? I mean, and actually, I thought that this was going to be one of the more special months. Like I thought that people would really be just totally ecstatic about it, because one of the main complaints we got was like a lot of the common cards. You know, like a lot of the common cards were being given out, and this time it was like basically guaranteed that you're going to get a 50-cent card no matter what, which I thought was just a win-win. But you know what? When you have too much of a good thing, it could be sometimes too much of a good thing, right? And so I think that everybody who participated in Ape in April is going to look back at it and go, wow, I'm really glad I got all these cards. They're going to look back at it fondly. But, you know, for this next month for Monster Mayhem, have you heard about that, Ag?
Monster Mayhem? No, tell me about it, Ron.
Well, you know, Monster Mayhem. Why?
Was that too much?
You're laying it on a little thick there, brother.
I was laying it on a little thick. That's fair.
Listen, we're giving away a gold foil Fiendish Harpy. A max gold foil Fiendish Harpy.
Whoa. Wait, that's an old card. That's not Chaos Legion. That's not Rift Watchers.
No.
That's an old card. And
that's
a max level gold foil one of those sounds rather valuable.
That sounds like stick it on a land plot and get some rewards.
Yeah, that'll definitely increase the size of your production points, if you know what I mean.
We got like 20 halfling alchemists. We've got a max level Arlic Stormbringer.
Jeez.
We've got 2 gold foil Neb Senis, a Cryptomancer, a Valnamor, a Prince Ren, a Yodin Zaku, Chancius the Great, 2 Lear Deep Swimmers, 2 Scarred Llama Mages, 3 Byzantine Kitties, a max level Lobster Damas.
Is this guaranteed for Monster Mayhem, or are these potentials?
These are everything is thrown into a big pot, and then that pot is shuffled around, and then we give cards out based on how the shuffle works. We do have a little bit more cards in there than we expect to give away, so but it's pretty close. Not all of it is guaranteed. I mean, if you go look at the Ape in April account, we did overshoot with it. There's a lot of leftover cards in there, and those, you know, when we did the Monster March, we kind of rolled it into Ape in April. I don't think we're going to do that this month because there's just so much great stuff there. We've got a post here. I'm going to throw it in chat for you guys to check out. Go see all that. And you know what? For all the people who actually read the post, this is something I wanted to do special, because I said that very, very just matter of factly at the end of the thing. I didn't make a big deal out of it. I said clips that don't make it to the top 5 are also going to be getting some prizes. So the clip of the week submitters this week, everybody who submitted a clip during the clip of the week is going to get a prize. I believe I'm going to hand out bruises, but I'm going to check it out and see what else see what else we can do.
Cool. Get your submissions in, people. How if I wanted to submit a clip of the week, how would I even do that, Ron? Where would I go? What does that look like?
Well, it's really easy. Twitch has a little button. It looks like a little clapboard for like movies. You click that, and it allows you to create a clip. You just select the beginning and end. You click publish. You get a link. Now you take that link and you go to the Splinterlands TV Discord, which is splinterlands.tv/Discord, and go to the clip of the week channel. Put that in there with your in-game name, so we know who to give the prize to. And then the top 5 most voted will get a prize. And the number 1 winner gets 500 SPS.
Sweet. Yeah. Gank is saying that max version card might currently be worth $7,650. I believe that what he's saying. That's a very expensive thing to be giving away and to be winning. I mean, I don't know how many like Discord groups can get you a, you know, nearly $10,000 NFT, you know, in a 5-year-old project, but go check out Splinterlands TV, and that's what's up for grabs.
Absolutely. We are we're doing it big this week. Monster Mayhem is going to be a month to remember, and you're gonna feel like you missed out if you don't go check it out this month. It is absolutely our biggest promotion to date, and I think it should make everybody happy.
That sounds like absolute mayhem, Ron. Absolute mayhem, because it's in May,
Hey,
and it's the month of May, which is our current month. But mayhem is also this word that describes chaos. So it all kind of comes together, Ron.
It's full circle.
Yeah. All right.
Ag,
Rock on.
I got a question for you.
Oh, okay. Way to turn the tables on me, Ron.
Yeah. Are you caffeinated tonight?
I am caffeinated. Oh, I know where you're going with this. Yeah, you know, I would absolutely love. I was planning on this. We got to go do some dark country tonight. So I'll want like 15 minutes after the town hall ends, but we'll go do some dark country. So
Beautiful.
if you have some dark country requests, I also have a random song I'm going to put in. I'm going to put in one disco song somewhere into that, and I can tell a little story about it.
Is it Thai disco pop?
No.
Oh.
No. But you'll know the song. Everybody knows the song. But it's been, I keep playing it this week, and I'll talk about it. What is dark country? Rainy, I'm so glad you asked. There's a music genre which is typically kind of like a bluegrass or maybe some country music. It's kind of a mix of those two, and it often has some story arcs and stories around the hard times of being out there and growing up in the world and trying to figure stuff out. So we are definitely doing some dark country, and if you'd like to, it's very experiential. So the only way to really understand it, Rainy, is to go hang out after the town hall. Give me about 15 minutes, and we'll start streaming some dark country tunes for you. So it's just some community building. I'll tell some random stories. I'll play some dark country music, and it should be fun. Okay, so can we end it there, Ron? Because I believe that there's a Cryptomancer who's been patiently waiting to go share with us kind of the details of the next project he's working on.
Oh, we got Cryptomancer next?
Oh, we do have Cryptomancer next. I believe we do, anyways.
Yeah, we do. We do.
Oh, good. Okay.
He's coming up right after me. So yeah, no, thanks for having me on. Thanks for letting me tell everybody about this amazing promotion that we're doing this month. I really think that everybody should be enjoying it. It obviously there's nothing to lose. You tune in to win, you pay nothing, you just go there, set your name. So we know which Hive account to send it to, and then you can enter to win. Like, it's just that simple.
Should be awesome. All right. Thank you, Ron. Appreciate all you do. All right, let's get ourselves a young man who calls himself Cryptomancer, one of the OGs of this 5-year-old project. Cryptomancer, it's a pleasure to have you on. You know, this is one of the gifts of the late night shows. We get to go get Mancer on here. And you said something. You said a little something about you're working on guilds. Would you like to give a preview of the guild goods that you were describing?
Hi guys, it's a pleasure to be here as always. Thanks for having me. And yeah, I'm really excited about this brand new big guild project that we've got in the works. I've been hard at work on it for the last couple of weeks, and development is getting pretty far along, so I can share some more details about it now. It's called Guild Points, and I believe Matt already talked a little bit about this in a previous town hall, but I can go into a bit more detail now.
Yeah.
So,
what are guild points?
Well, the basic idea is it will affect how you contribute to guild buildings going forwards. So right now you can contribute DEC or DECB to guild buildings. But once this project launches, instead what will happen is you will exchange your DEC and DECB for a new type of soulbound token, which we're calling guild points, or GP for short. And then those guild points will be contributed to the buildings. And it will work the same way that it does now. So you contribute your guild points to the buildings, and they level up. But if someone were to leave the guild, either by choice or by getting kicked out of the guild, when you leave the guild, you get 90% of your contributed guild points back. So then you can take those guild points and you can use them again in whichever new guild that you join. The remaining 10% stays permanently attached to your previous guild. So one of the ramifications of this is if you've contributed a lot of guild points and then you leave your guild, it's possible for the guild buildings to level down. And then, of course, so that means you'll also get the benefits of the lower level building. And then the remaining guild members would have to contribute more GP in order to level the buildings back up again. And along with these new guild points, we're also going to be introducing something else at the same time, which is a 7-day probationary period for new guild members. So what that means is when you join a guild, for the first 7 days, you won't be able to contribute any GP, and you also won't contribute any daily focuses to the Focus Lodge. And also during that 7-day period, you won't get any benefits from some of the buildings, specifically the Focus Lodge and the guild store. So until you've been with your guild for at least 7 days, you won't be able to earn merits or buy guild store items or get shop discounts on potions or get that guild bonus to ranked battle play. And the reason we're doing this is to kind of try to discourage people from guild hopping, from going to different guilds rapidly just to try and get the benefits of that guild. All of this is a precursor to new guild buildings, which are coming soon. And we want to get this foundational change in place before we roll out new guild buildings. So it's kind of the first step in this big guild overhaul.
Can you roll during probation? Or
you can roll during probation, yeah.
Okay.
You just won't be able to earn merits.
And then have you seen the new guild buildings? Has Matt shared that with you, or are you still in the dark as to what's coming next?
I have not seen the new buildings yet.
Yeah.
I've seen kind of draft plans about the buildings and some thoughts about what they might be, but none of that has been finalized yet. So we'll go into detail about that later on. But I can tell you that in addition to contributing guild points, you'll also have to stake stuff for the new guild buildings.
Stake stuff?
Yes.
What kind of stuff might you need to stake? This is a crazy concept. New guild buildings, and they're going to require staking. What kind of staking might that be?
Well, it could be a variety of things. For example, you might have to stake vouchers into guild buildings.
Vouchers? Wow. Okay. What else?
Or Rooney or packs. So
Yeah.
a wide variety of different assets into different buildings that do different things.
Yeah, you might even want to include some monsters and DEC. I imagine that we might find some of those, potentially SPS, maybe even SBT. It depends on how many new buildings that we can cook up. But I imagine that there's a fair amount of stuff that this community may want to collect to stake and make things awesome.
Yes, indeed. The possibilities are quite intriguing.
And then would it work the same way? For it's obvious to me that if you're putting DEC in, you're going to get some guild points or guild credits for, staking your DEC. Would it work the same way with packs? Am I donating packs to the guild, or when you're talking about these stakings, does a guild point extend to DEC and SBT and SBS and packs and monsters and Rooney and whatever else it's going to be, or does it really just is it just for the DEC? How does that work? Do you know?
So you contribute DEC and DECB in order to get your guild points. And then when you leave the guild, you get 90% of those guild points back. The staking will be different. So if you were to leave a guild, then anything you have staked, you would get that back. So you're not going to lose that. And you can unstake it anytime as well.
Yeah. So if I'm staking, say it's vouchers, and I'm staking vouchers to get some benefit, and I'm either kicked out of the guild or I leave, and now the guild voucher staking amount goes below the level it was at. What happens? Does it go down? Did I lose the building? Does everybody in the guild suddenly get murdered? What happens?
It's possible that the guild building may level down. So when stuff gets unstaked or when GP gets returned when you leave the guild, the buildings can level down. And then the remaining guild members will have to stake more stuff or contribute more GP in order to raise the building's level back up again.
Or find like a new voucher daddy. Hey, we need somebody to come in and stake this sweet voucher for us now that we kicked this other guy out.
Yeah, so you want to treat your big guild contributors well. You want to keep them happy.
Yeah, you need your voucher daddy, your pack mama, your just all the people that you need to help you do this. So that's a question, Rainey. Can a guild get leveled down during a big boss fight or brawl? So that the town hall is going to have it, like I think that building is still planned where you can't actually you have to build that with actual DEC and Deck B, not staked, right? The guild hall is a little bit separate because, if it downsizes, you're like forced to kick people out. So isn't the town hall like the one building where it's still like a little bit funky or like still a little bit in this older system?
Well, no, the town hall, the guild hall will function the same as the other buildings. So it can level down as well. But if the guild hall levels down, it doesn't kick everybody out of the guild. It just means that you won't be able to add new guild members until it levels up again. And as far as brawls are concerned, buildings cannot level down during a brawl. That's a technical constraint of the system. So you won't be able to leave the guild if that would result in a building leveling down during a brawl. Like, if you try to kick someone out, then it won't let you. So you have to wait until the brawl's finished, and then the person would be able to leave.
All right. Well, these are good constraints. We'll make sure that when the post goes out, everybody's clear, and there's probably going to be a couple like info boxes or something to help clarify all the things.
Yeah, I'll have a post with all the details beforehand. And as far as timeline is concerned, a lot of the back-end work has already been completed. I'm in the process of finishing that off, and I'll be starting the UI work this week. It's not expected to take a whole long time, so I'm really hoping that we can have this out sometime during the month of May, or at least in QA during the month of May, and that'll probably be towards the end of the month.
Cool. And then hopefully you'll have the guild buildings by then too. So maybe we'll even start seeing new guild buildings pop up either in May or possibly June. Does that sound reasonable?
The guild buildings I would expect would be a bit later on. I know plans for those still need to be finalized, and the creative team still needs to do all the art assets for it. So that I would probably say June at the earliest, possibly later, depending on how long the creative assets take.
Okay. All right. Anything else that you want to share with us for the guild set, or anything else that is kind of on your radar or tangential to what you're doing, or anything else you want to leave the community with here?
That's about it for now. I think, as Weirdbeard said, there's going to be a convergence of lots of stuff happening in June. So I'm hoping guild points can be out before we get into all that June stuff, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, that'd be great. Okay, Mancer, thanks so much. We gotta be nearing your 5-year anniversary here. You didn't hit it yet, did you? Oh, you couldn't have hit it.
I think it was 3 years this year. I started in January 2020 is when I started.
Amazing.
But I've been a player for longer than that.
Fair enough. All right. Well, we're so grateful to have you. Thanks for all your contributions. Really looking forward to the guild changes. I think that'll be awesome. And getting all this other staking. My suggestion to everybody in the community, get more land, get more monsters, get more DEC, get more SBS, get some SBT, get some Rooney. There's literally not enough of everything for everyone, please push and shove. And best of luck to all the guilds as you guys try to accumulate this stuff against each other.
Thanks, Aggie. Good to be here and excited about what's coming.
Rock on. All right. Thanks, Mancer. Appreciate you. Let's go get ourselves a Weirdbeard. This is like a little section we call Brawlhalla. And it's my understanding that he looks at this as he has a boss fight. It's against me.
Yes.
I'm some big evil aggroed, and he must slay the aggroed every week. So Weirdbeard, how goes the conquest?
I wouldn't say that I have to defeat you, but it's much more of like, you have to last X amount of rounds to be,
Okay.
to be able to stick around a little bit longer.
All right. Yeah. It can be brutal out there.
Um,
Nate on occasion, when asked what is the hardest thing to deal with in this company, he has looked at me straight across the screen and said, "You."
Yeah, well,
He's a savage. An
call a spade
absolute
a
savage.
spade. But yeah, I mean, it's going well. We've been we've really been trying to get a hold of a lot of the technical debt that we kind of have outstanding. A lot of my positioning right now is just finding out of looking at the future and charting out our course for like what's after land 1.5. It's such a monumental like timing, right? Like you've said it. You think that the summer time frame may look a little bit better financial, like wins wise and everything like that. That's totally fine. But we also will be completing so many projects that it's getting ready to what's the thing that we're going to sink our teeth into. We have plenty of irons in the fire right now. And so it's trying to make sure that I coordinate with as many people as possible to be like, all right, everybody on the same page is what we're doing. Great, cool. Great.
Yeah. And it's a never ending task. So there's not going to be a day where we're like, oh, all right, Weirdbeard, I guess there's nothing to coordinate this week. We're just gonna do smooth sailing, take a break, and we're off to the races. I mean, we have the next age coming. We have the next Crucible of Fire coming. We have all this planning to do. We basically have 2 more sprints left. Tomorrow is the end of the third sprint, which means we have 2 more to go. And then at the end of that, we have to go start our next planning. And, you in particular really have the most spinning plates or the most spinning plates to try to like coordinate. Do you have some tentative thoughts on, where you're going? Maybe you can share them, or maybe you're still in the planning, just like, what do you see? You have some leftover backlog that you've been working on, but like going into the next Crucible, are there like things that are high on your priority list? Is land still on there? Like land 1.5, will we be done with the majority of that before the next one, or are we bleeding into that? Like how do you see land rolling out, and then what do you see kind of coming on its heels?
I mean, land is going to be a bear. We're still getting ahead of that. Just because there's a lot of I think I may have mentioned this last week. There's a lot of like what Nate calls child screens, which are just like those nested screens in a screen type things. And that's where a lot of work ends up being spent, is it's not the big like, hey, here's land, how do you interact with it? Like that's pretty easy to knock out. It's getting each of those individual screens that come along with developing this whole brand new game mode essentially. So we're gonna have some time. It's not like June 1st is going to hit in exactly 1 month and we go, yes, land is here, we're totally done, don't worry about it. 1.5 will be in there, and we're hopefully gonna get it out mid-June alongside everything else. But looking forward, there's lots of items that have been neglected that I really, really, really want to make sure that we're taking care of. We have a lot of outstanding mobile tickets, right? Like bugs that are on the mobile version, or things that we should be able to make sure are taken care of, because like for a minute we had to remember that when we're releasing this promo card that has the dual splinters that we have, oh gosh, we have to go in and clean up and make it available on the mobile version. We can't just do it only on the desktop version. And once you get in there, you're like, oh, here's all this other stuff that we're looking at that maybe we could just take care of this kind of stuff. And it's not only technical debt like that, but I really I just have to make the argument that I always do about improving gameplay aspects not because I have some weird like, hey, I love playing this game so much, but it's like it's a retention strategy. It's a new player acquisition strategy. It's a way that we go out and, you know, balance out all these amazing tokenomic stuff that Matt is currently working on, with some strong underlying like base gameplay updates and advantages. And I think like we have lots of stuff that, like you said, we're juggling. One of the interesting things is like we're clearing a ticket right now about some of the after effects of when a creature dies and they're brought back to life. There are some like status effects that would persist even after they would be brought back, and other ones that would go away, right? Because now the game is so much bigger than it was 6 months ago, let alone a year, 2 years ago, that you know, what started off as, hey, we just need to make sure a couple of these abilities work the way that they're supposed to. Now it's like, oh my God, we just put in a new rule set where everybody gets rebirth. Go have fun and see what issues come out of that happen.
Yeah.
So
let's blow that problem up out of proportion as quickly as possible.
And it's finding stuff like that, you know, because we even, and this is like a stupid problem, but when after the security issue we had last week, 2 weeks ago, whenever it was, we had to reset and flush all the keys for all of our accounts, right? Like it's a security thing you're supposed to do. Well, when we did that, the tournaments account broke, and it's like, oh, awesome. And so we had to go back through, and Biz and I spent forever rebuilding all the tournament formats and putting out the templates and looking at stuff like that. But when you do that, you're like, it's been a while since we've been in here and adjusting the numbers by hand. We need to make time and go through and do this. So it's like, it's part of that technical debt stuff that I really looking forward. Don't want to start, if we open up a new thing and we're going after, you know, some new gameplay options and things that we're looking at, it also needs to be done with taking care of the stuff that's just needs to be polished that we already have around here.
Now, I know players have mixed feelings about land and where it fits in the priority, but Matt and I in particular have said, this is it. We're drawing the line in the sand. We got to get 1.5 out.
Mm-hmm.
And once 1.5 is out, you know, we have a lot more flexibility with what we ought to do next and the priorities that we're setting. You know, you said we're going to go make it for mid-June. You know, how confident are you in that? Do you feel like we got it in the bag? This baby's easy and everything is cruising? Are we going to like slide into home plate, but we got to like knock the catcher out in order to make it actually count?
Oh
like
yeah, we're barreling in there. We're going to take a little contact, but we've never been scared of that.
Okay.
I think like, again, because we have so many things coming at the same time, it's a matter of like executing correctly. The last thing the thing that bothers this community the most is when we put out something that we're like, oh, this is so cool and so great, and then it's like half broken, right? And they get so annoyed when we do that. So when we're releasing all of these things, it's a matter of not only getting it out, but making sure that we do it not broken and not janky, right? Like we want players to be excited and celebrating whenever we release stuff. So that's like priority number one is if it's broken, if it's not up to snuff, we're not going to push it out here because we have to do high quality deliveries.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of crypto. Like you have to do some level of testing and production.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no way around it. You know, you aren't going to know how this stuff actually works until you get the entire community doing it. And, you know, so much of this is like edge cases. And in order to effectively catch edge cases, you really need to have a, you know, quantity of numbers, transactions, reactions, and everything to be able to go catch the outliers. So as far as I'm concerned, you do the best you can. You launch this thing and then you tweak as you go. And I know that bothers some of the players. They want us to sort of like have it be perfect at the time of launch. But, you know, until you get in there, until you actually launch, there's just some things you could never predict, never think about, never anticipate. And I'm sure that there's lots of guys that are like, yeah, why didn't you think about that? That one's easy. You guys are idiots.
Forehead. Why did I? Yeah, you're right. I'm stupid. Duh.
Yeah. What's wrong with you? Why didn't you do that? And it's like, you know, we had some of the best freaking developers in crypto, the best minds and the best people. And we didn't anticipate this is a way that you would break it. And in hindsight, it might look obvious, but It's not like the community said something or it's out there. We just do the best that we can, and it might not be perfect, and we'll do the best to make it as awesome as we can. But at times we're going to have to roll with changes, and that's just the nature of the beast.
Yeah, and other things that we're looking at looking forward, like I want to do tournament league locks. I've talked a lot about them to make it to where, we have a really cool tournament overhaul system. I really want to be able to do this, this draft mode format, the draft mode gameplay format that we've discussed internally. Like that kind of stuff gets my blood going. And it's hard because it's one of those projects to where you have to balance ROI that's kind of intangible, right? Because it's not just like, hey, we do this thing, we earn X amount of dollars. It's like, hey, we do this thing and it makes players happy and they start talking to other people about it. And then we bring in new players. And then how do we do stuff like this? And like, there's a lot of projects that we are looking at doing in addition to those straight, like do X thing, get Y thing, including even like a tutorial system of one of the things we've even talked about with Cryptomancer is, hey, we need new tutorials. Like, how do we do it so it's not janky? Okay, well, the real task is not having creative spend days and weeks and months designing beautiful tutorial systems that whenever we change one thing in the game, they have to go back through and redo all of it. We need to have the developers build a tool that allows us to make those tutorials so that when we have to update it, it's literally click, 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 boom, and it's done and updated, right? Those are the kinds of things that we're planning and hoping to get into, because I think that, like you said, with the release of Land 1.5, monsters finding a home, lots of DEC sinks, people are going to be looking for new ways to interact and play with the assets that aren't on land. So we need to start anticipating those kind of desires now so that it doesn't reach like, oh my God, what's going on? We haven't done anything new for, the people who are here with these cards that they need to do something with that isn't land.
Cool. All right. Anything I want to make sure Mr. Nate has some time. Anything else you want to share? What other, I think you said there were some tournament things coming up.
Oh yeah, I was going to mention we had our tournament on Friday, a ghost card tournament with Nifty Arcade. They actually had two, I believe it was max leveled diamond decks that were delegated out to the people who took first and second in the tournament. And it was called the Harbinger Open, because internally, which nobody kind of knows, while we were playtesting the new promo card, it went by the name of the Harbinger. So let me shout out real quick the people who actually took home those two delegated. So we had almost 300 people that were competing. Person who took first from our Samurai Soul Guild, one of our best Japanese players, Hell Slash. Very, very cool. Love seeing him up there. And then I believe it's X Suil X. I never know how to pronounce his in-game name, but he also won a whole bunch of SPS and then a diamond deck delegation from Nifty Arcade. So thanks so much for participating in those. I know players love them, and excited to get more of them up here soon.
Awesome. And then anything else that you want to share from the land of the product team?
Just keeping our heads down, noses to the grindstone. Until June is here, I won't be let out of my office. So, throw some peanuts to the monkeys for me every once in a while, because I can't have any fun.
Yeah, I get it. Ain't no rest for the wicked. June is going to be
fun.
June is going to be brutal, but hopefully when we get to summer, we'll all breathe a sigh of relief, and should be in a good spot. Any thoughts you want to give on the sort of promo card? That thing's going live tomorrow. It's a big deal for the company. It's a first dual element monster to come out, and to me it feels like getting two legendary cards for the price of one. I think it's a big deal. Are there parts of this that you're excited for, parts that you're nervous about? Just thoughts on that promo card?
Well, I mean, again, I don't want to steal time from Nate because he always has more. Nobody likes listening to me talk about this stuff. But one of the coolest things that people aren't really anticipating here is that after I've transitioned to this new role, you and I talked on town halls about, hey, we just want Matt to go design. We want him to hang out, do the stuff that makes him happy, and design what he wants to design. This first card is a step in a whole new direction for the game as far as the gameplay. That's more than just, hey, we have cards, the cards go out, they do these things, right? Like, we're looking at eventually being able to maybe have like tokens that are in the game, not like tradable tokens, but like if you know Magic or Pokemon or any card game, right? Like you put a token on a monster, or you have this kind of a token that's used in battle. Having dual splinter cards is an evolution in these gameplay designs that are being opened up because Matt is being allowed to just design. Oh, by the way, Suil that I was trying to pronounce is just Lewis backwards. I can't read. But I'm really excited because letting Matt open up these opportunities to go and design more and do some of these things. A dual splinter card, while it's very exciting on its face, is the first rung of the ladder of like, if you look at Splinterlands in another 2 years after, you know, Matt's able to design and I'm helping to ship products out, it's going to be a totally different base game, not even including tokenomics, not including the economy, not including the community, but just the way that cards are going to be available and be able to be played is going to be dope.
Sweet. All right, Weirdbeard, thanks so much for coming on. I pushed us a little late because we did a lot with Allie, so we're gonna give some time to Nate. We'll see how many questions we can get through, and you know, thanks for taking this on. You know, we did not give you an easy role, and you had big shoes to fill, and it's nice to see stuff getting shipped out, and seems like it's going to be shipped out on time, and it seems like a lot of these things are a mix of what the game needs, what the players want, and seems like we're balancing the things. So that's in large part to your efforts. Thanks for spinning the plates, juggling the balls, and doing all the things.
No problem. Thanks for having me here.
Awesome. Thanks, Weirdbeard. All right. For the last segment of the evening, the one, the only Nate, giving us a creative brief, sharing a little eye candy here in the creative corner. Nate, how are things?
Hey, doing great.
I appreciate you constantly going last. I know that it might be burdensome at times, but I know that when I think about what I want to leave people with, it's eye candy for what's coming up next. So I'm excited to have you here and have you kind of talk about, you know, what are you working on? What's kind of rolling out next? What's burning a hole in your pocket, or what's driving your universe these days? And what do you want to share about it?
It's funny how you pointed out that I'm always last, which is fine, because typically I spend the majority of town hall. I mean, I'm listening with one ear, and I'm kind of looking at the chat, but my other eyeball is typically on another monitor, and I'm during the course of this town hall, I'm reviewing UX and UI. I'm looking at this project and some spreadsheets, and I'm kind of chatting it up on our internal Slack to the team members, asking them questions, and they're responding, and we're going back and forth, and we're getting stuff done. So yeah, so I keep myself busy. As far as let's see, what was I actually doing just before you called upon me? I think I was looking at the UI stuff that we're doing for Land 1.5. So
are you going to give us a sneak peek?
I mean, it's just like UX UI stuff, but you know, I could definitely kind of get into that a little bit. Let me see.
Yeah. Let's do it. Let's give a little sneak peek of what this thing is going to look like. You know, the caveat is always there. This can change. Don't invest your retirement funds. Don't sell your kidney just because you see this. Everything can change. It's not final until the damn thing goes out, and even then it might change. But this is our one of our early prototypes of what some of this stuff might look like.
Yeah, exactly. I don't even remember if I shared this before. I might have. Everything's a blur. Like, I come on the town halls and I throw some stuff out there. I got to pay better attention. But in case I haven't shown it yet, this is this. It could be fun to show the wireframe stage first. So, okay, typically UX starts off with like bullet point lists and flow charts. Eventually we get into what are called low fidelity wireframes, and they're just nothing more than gray boxes. We kind of prototype, hey, we could put this here and that there. And, you know, we consider a lot of different aspects of you know, how the front end should look. Then you get into higher fidelity wireframes, and that's what I can kind of like share with you, as long as like
Yeah, if you want to walk us through it, I don't think that the players are going to mind to kind of see how we make the sausage. So
Gotcha.
feel free to share a little bit earlier. Feel free to dive right in. But
Yeah, absolutely. So what I'm showing you has already changed, but I have this handy. So what the heck? So what we're looking at here is when you go to land as it is now, there's going to be a little button up top, and it's going to say production. And the reason we're separating it out is because for those of you who have already been participating in claiming land and surveying land and exploring the grids and where you're at in the plot. And then there's all these sorting and filtering, and there's these toggles. Do I want to change the colors based on geography? Do I want to change the colors based on the type? Or do I want to see this? Do I want to see that? There's a lot there. So trying to cram in this other stuff too while you're doing all that, it just seemed a bit much. So right now our thought process is, and we're still a little bit early in figuring stuff out, but our thought process is, well, let's let's give everyone's brains a little bit of a break. So there's going to be a button that says production, and when you click on production, it'll take you to a different mode. You'll leave the I don't know, the Zillow experience behind. You're not shopping for a home anymore, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. You're not trying to find the right neighborhood anymore. You already own the plot. You just want to get down to business. So once you click that little production button, then you'll see kind of like an overview. So, an overview similar to this. And the point, basically what I'm showing you, don't freak out. For those of you guys who want gameplay and say, hey, where's the fun stuff? I'll get to that in a future town hall. So who I'm really talking to right now, the people who are probably going to be a little more excited about anything I show today are going to be those folks who own a lot of land. And they're trying to figure out, how the heck am I going to manage hundreds or thousands of plots? How am I going to or maybe you're like me. And instead of clumping all your plots together, you're like, hey, I want to get some plots in that region, and I want to get some plots in that region. And by the time you're done, you're like, you got all these plots in all these different regions, and you're thinking, how am I going to do this? So we're trying to accommodate the needs of all of the different players, whether you own a few plots or a lot of plots, whether you own them all in one region or you're spread out a bunch of regions. And that's really the challenge, right? Like, how do we do that? So this right here is an overview. So you can kind of get a big picture of okay, what's going on at a high level. If you click on something in that list view, a particular region in which you own plots, then you'll end up in kind of a more region view, which I'll plop in there. And at the region level, you're actually doing stuff, but in bulk. So it's kind of like when you are currently doing some actions with your plots of land, such as survey, right? You go to all the plots you own in a particular region, you check mark the ones that you want to survey, and then a little button lights up at the top. Oh, you want to survey these dozen plots? And you're like, yeah, I want to do them all at once. And then you click survey, and then you could go to the next screen where you buy your survey boost, or you do what you're going to do before you go to your card flip experience. So it's sort of like that. We want to give you the option to do bulk actions. And that's what you see here. I want to claim all the stuff in my whole region. Well, there's one button you can do that, sir. Bam, there you go. But if you want to go ahead and micromanage your stuff, I'm not going to share that today right now, but then you'll be able to click on one of those specific plots, and now you're down at the ground level. Now you see the pretty artwork. Now you see other things, and you could manage your workers, and you could get at a granular level and maybe just claim the resources for just that one plot if you don't want to do the bulk experience. So we're trying to accommodate all of that. What else do I got? This I'll share later.
The one thing I'm asking for in this is the next button, next and previous. Can you put next and previous in there?
Next. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a good idea. Actually, you brought that up before, and I think it is actually a good idea. That makes good UX sense.
Every now and then, I get one UX point.
Yeah, for sure.
This is my one for the quarter.
This is more recent. So now that you guys have seen the gray boxes, you can see okay, what happens when you hand this stuff to a UI designer? UI designer goes and adds some of the color. They make and so Kai is I believe the UI designer who helped polish this up, and she does a great job at it. So here is kind of like a more rendered version of what I just showed you, and that's where you get into like, okay, now you can start to get a better idea of how this thing's actually going to look. Yes, we're still tinkering with it. Yes, stuff might get moved around and it might not be exactly the data and information that is on there right now, but ultimately, yeah, it'll be something like that. And then you'll notice that you know, the little graphics that you got on there. I'll show some slightly higher res so you can get a better picture of what those graphics look like. But you know, it's a cool time to celebrate 1.5 and the resources related to it, and basically that's what that image gives you. It's like, oh yes, you're gonna need dark energy. Yes, you're probably gonna want time crystals. Yes, I'm gonna want grain. Yes, I'm here doing research. So you get some cool little pretty eye candy graphics to kind of celebrate what's to come. And there's a lot of cool stuff that we're working on in addition to what I just shared. But crap, there's hardly much time left for question and answers, and I want to leave a little bit for the next few town halls. So I'll hold on to that stuff.
Can somebody that's not in the it's not Nate, can you guys put some of this stuff into eye candy for us? Because that grain and dark energy screen, I guess the region view for the production tab, that's just so amazing. That looks beautiful. And I can't, you know, there's gonna be the underlying one underneath, which is gonna be kind of like you know, Civilization was like a big inspiration for me as I was designing a lot of this stuff at the beginning. So when you go into like the next view, when you're actually in the plot, I feel like that's where you get like a little bit more of that Civilization worker placement and what it's actually doing at the plot level. But this is such a beautiful summary screen. I mean, I feel like we're spoiled. You know, this is just, you know, Nate, just whip this stuff up every time. And you guys do, and it looks amazing. And God, that it just makes me feel good to see. You know, when I first built a lot of these screens, or not the screens, but like the very foundation of this game, and I'm like looking through I got these giant freaking poster boards, and I'm like writing down the different name types and the building types and how we're gonna have monsters working on it and this kind of stuff. I guess the monster staking is more Matt's like contribution to this, but you know, just this whole thing coming alive. You know, when I do it, it just looks so crappy, and then when you guys do it, it looks so amazing, and you really bring it to life. So
no, I'm pretty excited.
I'm proud of this team.
I know how ambitious you are, Eggy. I know like in Mav's chat, any given day of the week, people are coming up with ideas like, oh, I want land to do this and I want land to do that. And wouldn't it be cool if this happened? And wouldn't it be cool if that happened? And I remember our conversations like a couple years ago where you were like a mad scientist. You were like, had so many spreadsheets. Like, I can't even remember how many spreadsheets you had, because you were thinking of like land. Oh, this is gonna be great. And we kind of, sometimes we'd feed off each other. Like, yeah, let's add like 1 million recipes and ingredients and refinements. And hey, when you mine, let's add all this stuff. And you had like spreadsheets full of like, it was just insane. And while we're talking, we knew, you know what? Matt would kill us if we even tried to do all this stuff, even a fraction of this stuff. He's going to kill us. So, but the great news is, and here's what I love about land, is that in my head, everything I'm working on right now isn't land. To me, it's one little tiny sliver of land. It's like, to me, this is production. That's what I call it in my head. I call it production. What I'm working on isn't land. I'm working on how do players produce and craft in this grand, huge thing we're calling land. And then if we add other game modes on top of production, like whether it's a civilization mode or a kingdom conquest mode, or hey, let's go chase goblins out in the wilderness mode, or you know, a million different things that we could do in the wilds in between these little ranches and production hubs, then why not? I mean, sky's the limit. So, you know, it's going to be fun.
It's gonna be awesome. This stuff is looking great, Nate. You found some really talented people. Yourself is really talented people. So I'm stoked. You know, from the images and the icons to the readouts. You know, and this stuff isn't easy. I mean, I know, like, you know, when you watch like Olympic skaters or like Olympic athletes, and you're like, oh, they just did the triple lux, like that looks easy. You know, it only looks easy because they've done it so freaking well that it looks effortless. But you know, obviously, it's not. You know, when you start with these gray drawings and the gray boxes, and then you get to these screens, you're like, of course it would look like that. But you know, it's not. And of course, there's so much talent that's behind that. So just endless praise. You guys did great, really killing it, and it's amazing to see this thing come to life.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks a bunch.
Okay. I think we should go to questions. We have 20 minutes. So let's go hop over there. Nate, thanks for the eye candy. That should hopefully keep people for a little bit. All right. So I think I'm on page 3. So there's like a page and a half of questions here. And these are the pre-sorted ones. So when is the last day to buy a building in a box and other offers? Anybody know that off the top of their head? It's 60 days after we released this thing.
Yeah, so I'm trying to remember. It was the beginning of last month, right? The first week of April. So that means first week of June.
Yeah, you got maybe 30-ish days. So don't go exactly. I think isn't there supposed to be like a timer released for that or something? Is that?
So we released land on April 4th. So 60 days from then.
Yeah, June 4th.
And we are, I believe, intending to put some sort of timer or indicator or something in you know, relatively soon, because we should probably get that in there over the next couple of weeks.
We've already that's coming, yes, but more than anything, we don't want people to be caught off guard. So if you're worried that you're going to forget the date, don't worry. Lots of big flashing neon signs are going to be there so that you can't get confused.
Yeah, at the very least, on May 4th, let's go say they have a 30-day warning, at least in the Discord and maybe on site. All right, promo card. Is there any reason why vouchers were valued at 25 cents for the upcoming sale as opposed to $1 or even 50 cents? While I appreciate it'll burn more voucher, it does increase the cost of the promo. Yeah, I mean, so there's a set amount of money that there'll be for the licenses, but you know, I think generally there's been this was mostly me putting my foot in the ground, so I'll be the one to go defend this. You know, a lot of people, you know, we talked about how should we be doing this, and I think the overall response that I got, especially ahead of putting this thing together, was that it's better if there's more vouchers involved and that there's more utility for the vouchers. And like doing it at $1, you know, I understand that that's what we've done in the past, but you know, we kind of have a lot of vouchers out there, and you know, the discussion has really been around. We want, like, it doesn't necessarily make sense to, you know, cut the production. That doesn't seem like something that the stakeholders want. What the stakeholders wanted in the discussions that I've had was more of them getting used. And I think that's where that came from, is the discussions that I've had. So, you know, that's what we're doing for this one. It doesn't mean that that's what we're going to be doing for the next one, because, you know, these things fluctuate and bounce around. And but that's what it is for this promo card. Any chance of a last minute reduction in promo cost, either by valuing vouchers, a reduction in the base DEC cost, or certain amounts of discounts available depending on staked SPS? Nope, we are going with this. And if it's too expensive and you don't think it makes sense, that's okay. If you realize that it's basically like getting 2 gold foil legendaries in one, you might actually think, oh, this is sort of an inexpensive card for this. But maybe not, and we'll see. I think the market will determine where we land. And if we sell out, that would be amazing. If we sell very few, that'll be okay. It just means that, you know, there will be a number of people that have access to this card and very few other people will. And maybe at the end of the promo, we'll see like a lot of movement as people look at it and say, oh, only 1,000 of them sold. I should get this because there's going to be so few in circulation. So if we don't get it at the beginning, maybe we'll get it at the end, and we'll see. All right, Nifty Arcade. Has there been a tangible benefit from gifting Nifty Arcade those packs, cards to delegate? How many new players and customers have we gotten since the pack delegation? They haven't been able to bring in notable traffic, money to the game. When will the packs and cards get burned? Weirdbeard, do you have stats or numbers on this? Maybe we should go invite them back, but you have anything shorthand on your brain?
Nothing that I'd like to comment for on their behalf. Nothing that I like. I don't have real hard numbers, so I don't even want to take a shot in the
All
dark.
right, let's get Tyler back on, and we'll just hopefully we can get him on next week and see what they have to say and check in on that. Do some of the gold foil cards given away for free on Splinterlands TV come from the leftovers of the packs allocated for the Nifty deal? No, not a single one of them. Those were all things that Splinterlands owned at one point, and a lot of them came because like we're reserving packs, or we're not selling some packs. The packs that we get, they get kind of different airdrops, and rather than sell the airdrops, all of those airdrops get put into the ODIC account, and those are given away. So none of the cards, exactly 0 of the cards, have ever been given away that were used in the Nifty Arcade. I don't plan on giving them away. Those aren't actually owned by Nifty Arcade. Those are owned by Splinterlands, and it's possible at one point they'll be owned by the DAO, or it's possible at one point they'll just be burned. Let's go hear from Nifty and see how that's going. Rewards. Have there been any changes to Soulbound reward card drop percentages in chests or the algorithm for determining drop chance in recent weeks? Not that I know of. Investigator or Weirdbeard? Any changes?
In recent weeks, no. There was a correction maybe a month ago. I'd have to scroll through. Yeah, April 18th. But that didn't affect the actual drop rate of like what type of cards you get. There were some issues with some of the finer details of the math on like what you're getting between potions and cards per league.
All right, I'm going with no then. Voting, would it be possible to add an optional comment to your vote so SPS stakers can explain their position if they choose? When you vote, could we make a memo note? That doesn't sound too hard.
I mean, here's the thing. Is it possible? Yes. Are we able to while drinking out of a fire hose of everything else we're doing in June? Probably not, to be honest. But I mean, it's something that it would be great to be able to do. Would we be able to get to it in a timely fashion? Maybe.
Let's put that in the backlog somewhere, and we can figure out where to position it. But we should at least keep track of that. It's a good suggestion. When it comes to voting on stuff, how about we not only consider staked SPS, which favors old timers and the rich, but also factor in both total number of battles played and percent of days played since getting a spell book? I'm going to go with no. So first off, I actually question that it values or it benefits the old timers and the rich. I'm not sure that that's actually the case, but this is a stake-based voting system, and it has always been declared to be a stake-based voting system. I would vote with my personal stake against anything that changes it from stake-based SPS. If you feel strongly, you should go put in a proposal and see if the community supports you. But I will tell you that is not something that I would support. This is there is a governance token. The governance token is SPS, and that's the thing that guides us all. But if the DAO votes to change it, by God, I'll go with it. When will we get the next GLG town hall? I don't know that anybody here can answer that, but the game should be launching in June. So presumably sometime in the next month, we'll go get another town hall together so that we can get out in front of either maybe a prototype release or the first release, things like that. Bot proposal. These are the last couple questions. What would Cloudflare solution proposed by Matt impact? Bot farms, Splex, peak monsters, bid buys, single-use bots like Xbot, Archmage, Splintermate, auto-claim solutions, or others. I don't think we're going to do anything about like if you want to claim, if you want an auto claim, that's not what we're here to fight. If the players are looking for some kind of fight, it's the bots that are used in actual ranked combat. That's what would be impacted. Did I speak incorrectly about that?
Well, the question they're more asking is it for battle helpers? So like when we talk, this is one of the reasons why the bot conversation always falls apart, is because it's not just like there are giant massive bot farms, right? Where it's 1,000 accounts of mindless robots just playing against each other. Then there's also ones like the Xbot personal helper, right? To where it's for one person using it on one account, and it's harder in a different detection system than mass bot stuff. Cloudflare, for the most part, helps and focuses on those large bot farms of the thousands of accounts that are deployed that are like mindlessly just being bots. There's no humans there. It does not, from my understanding, tackle the issue, which is another thing that we've been discussing internally and trying to figure out how we could also support it. It doesn't help with if I'm somebody who has my own account and I play sometimes, but then I have a bot that plays in ranked or in tournaments or in different versions, right? That's why we would also be updating the TOS to be able to reflect it so that it's like, hey, even if Cloudflare doesn't catch you, if we do see that this is an issue that you're abusing, we are able to take these, actions because of it. So as usual, the Cloudflare solution is it's not going to catch 100% of all bots. It doesn't detect every single kind of bot, which means that we aren't just left with it as this is the only way that we tackle the solution. It's Cloudflare and the other things and other steps that we take to be able to address and support the proposal.
I missed the question earlier under battles. As SBS comes closer to replacing CP and ranked battles, could we please have an updated earning calculation table and or some insight into how it will play out? Yeah, I think Matt's actually been working on that. So when he's got a first draft, we're not planning on keeping it hidden. In fact, I'm meeting with Matt tomorrow. So we'll figure out just how much of this stuff we can kind of crank out between the two of us. And then, once the two of us have broad agreement, we let all the employees sort of refine it, and then the players get to refine it. We put out proposals and things like that. But SBS delegation is now live. So one of the first real pieces that we plan to implement is getting rid of collection power and replacing that with staked SBS. All right, back to the bot proposal. If the proposal passes, what do you consider a bot for the effects of fighting them? Bot farms, single bot users, match battle helpers like Splinter Tools, Xbot, or others? I think we just answered that. Do we have this covered?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. But the other thing too is that having to do this means that we are going to have to draw some lines in the sand. That means that things may be changed and it may be, not the correct like determination at the very beginning, I guess. But as always, I ask people patience and understanding that we are attempting to figure this out in a space that is normally kind of very antagonistic towards conversations like this. So a lot of it is just understanding what's expected from all sides.
Okay, these next two questions I'm going to kind of read together. If the team is really convinced that bots offer such enormous advantages for Splinterlands on the market, then it is fatal to leave this to third party. Is the company still bots neutral? If the community decides to fully ban bots, will the company honor the proposal? The company is actually a bunch of people. And if you were to go poll the people in this company, you're not going to get one answer. You're going to get, if there's 50 people, you'll get 100 opinions at least. So there's not one answer to this. I guess as CEO and a big shareholder around here, I'm fairly neutral. And I'm fairly neutral because I know that there are detriments to having bots within the game and that there's a lot of players that are very unhappy with it. But I also hate the idea that there's going to be some version of like we're going to ban accounts or ban certain accounts. And I know that that's going to get really messy. And, we're going to get things wrong. You're going to say that account is a bot. And then there's going to be like family photos of like four brothers that are all playing the account day after day. And, we're going to get things wrong and we're going to be banning real people. And I hate that. So there's some benefits. There's some things that I think will get really ugly, but I'm not against running the experiment. I'm a chemist as training, And I really think that experiential learning and doing things by experiment is the best way to do things. So if the community votes to start banning accounts or banning accounts that appear to be botting, then I'm going to do my best to abide by that. But I don't think that I'm going to be voting for or against this. I mean, the things that I'm deeply concerned about, like my main concern is making sure that the tokenomics of this ecosystem work. And so anything that involves like DEC and SBS, those are the things that I'm going to be like throwing my full force behind. Something like bots, we've had this long-standing position that we are neutral to bots, so I really don't want to personally go against that. But again, if the bulk of the stakeholders go for something, then I'm gonna honor that and do my best to help. Anybody here want to kind of weigh in on bots or share anything about that?
I'm not sure if it's necessarily pro bot or anti bot or any of that. I mean, I think the bot neutral approach has always stemmed from the fact that we're pro decentralization, right? So as long as we're saying, you know what, this is where we're trying to get to, decentralization, which with the validator nodes and with the this and the that, and we're the spirit of decentralization equates to empowering the players, owning the assets, and anything that supports that is something that we're going to want to do, right? And I think that's how we ended up with the whole bot neutral approach is kind of like it was a side effect of that. That's the main event right there. That's where our attention should be. Everything else is a distraction. So from that standpoint, I know that, I made my opinion clear in that, like, bots, no bots. I mean, I'm looking down the road when there's so many, the ecosystem is so big and there's so many ways to play the game and so many gameplay modes that it's like the ruckus over bots and this one gameplay mode will just kind of like fade away naturally. But I could understand that people are like, well, we want this solved now. This is what's in our face right now. We don't want to wait a week or a month or a year. We've already been around for now going on 5 years. Let's address it now. And we're like, okay, I think I'm with you, Aggie. It's like, oh, either way.
I mean, if I can also, I don't want to go too much in. I feel like I've talked a lot about bots for everybody's detriment up here. But the big thing to also remember is that banning or restricting bots or whatever is the black and white solution. And I think the real solution is in the gray somewhere, which means that creating new game modes that aren't favorable to bot participation. Cool. That's a great solution that we should look at. Being able to make it so that we entice players to actually be enthused with the game and they're excited to play the game so that they don't go and look at it as just an ROI thing is huge. And we should be looking at doing that. Being able to bring in new players and how do we make it so that the negative impacts of people that do use bots or are wanting to use automation of some sort don't negate the experience of new players and getting them into the game, right? So it's, as always, it's not one or the other. It's a series of compromises and small incremental adjustments and building a product that is specifically geared towards being fun, engaging, and entertaining. Because if you want to talk to real human players, bots don't care about entertainment. Humans do. So if you make stuff really entertaining, you're speaking to and producing a product that's made for real humans. So,
okay. I'm interested in doing something like maybe 15 more minutes of questions just from the audience. I'm not sure that there's a small audience because it's late, but maybe just open it up to one quick round of questions and then closing it up. Ron, do we have time for like another 10 minutes or so? Okay.
Do we have time for Dark Country?
Yeah, we'll do Dark Country after. But let's do 10 more minutes.
All
So
right, let's do 10 more
if you guys have questions, put them up. We're here for 10 more minutes and then we're going to let everybody go. It's late on the East Coast here. So I don't want to keep people too long, but you guys are welcome to shoot out your questions. We'll answer, the first set of them that appear and then we'll move on from that. So I see this first one from Rudy. I voted against the bot proposal in part because my concern is that it is moving us away from the decentralization that we've been striving for, which is one of my favorite parts of Splinterlands. I've had faith so far that the team was working towards rules-based ways to fix botting problems. Do any of the members of the team think that it's going to be possible to handle this without the authoritarian approach? That is pretty much the only thing that could get me to vote for this exact proposal, which seems very authoritarian. But if one on the team thinks that isn't possible, that could absolutely change my mind on this. I think it's going to take a couple different types of experiments that, we can run it authoritarian, see how that goes, and then see if there are ways that we can get clever. But, a lot of this stuff comes as experiential. Anybody want to chime in?
Well, you gotta remember, this is also a DAO player submitted proposal that people want to play in a human only league. This is not coming directly from the company. This is something the players are asking for.
Yeah. And it's something that the players are voting for. I mean, I don't know maybe somebody can go post the current voting. I'd love to see that. But it's not, it wasn't me and Matt saying, let's go do this. It's the players, and we try to honor what the players think and want. Question: Bloodstones and Power Stones can be bought with DEC only. Why not add vouchers as a second option? It is a good sync for vouchers, and also if it increases the legendary gold foil drop percentage when you use Bloodstones. I think we talked about this, and we thought it was not enough value for the work. So maybe we have it in the backlog somewhere, and if it ever makes sense, we'll do it. But I don't. It was just too small of a volume for us to go spend Cryptomancer's time on it.
Well, it's kind of funny you should ask this, because originally we were going to do this, and I developed it, and it took like a day for me to make it. But the real reason that we didn't do this is because it causes problems for our SPS validators, because validators handle vouchers as well as SPS and licenses. But then we went and we created Voucher G, the in-game version of vouchers. So now we probably could go back and do this again if people really wanted to.
All right.
But I would say if this is something you feel strongly about, make it a DAO proposal vote, and let's see what the community thinks.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. If it's to the point where it's not a lot of work, which is different than it used to be, then yeah, let's see if that's something the community wants. Thief. So let's stop all other questions. We're going to go through the ones that are here. With Zerial being a life and death card, one instance of the card art neatly fits in between the life and death cards in the collection tab. However, how would this work for two splinters that aren't immediately besides each other, like fire and death? Nate? Short answers, buddy. Because
all right. The short answer is, when dual element cards was first introduced, I was like, no, because it looked like a UX UI, not a nightmare, but either way. So yes, if I think for the single one we have now, it's fine. It shows up or it doesn't show up. But you're right. If we did more, we would have to put some thought into it, and we haven't really done that yet. So
hey Nate, where a great place for that to be would be somewhere like Battles 2.0, where we're having to talk about not only the team selection but also the gameplay series and how it looks when people go through and look at their collections, and lots of cool things that could be done, once we're able to have the team focus on stuff like that.
Yeah.
All right. Bitcoin Sig is asking, what should happen when the community passes ambiguous proposals that don't provide specifics? One, you shouldn't be passing those. And two, if it really does pass, then we're going to, as a company, try to figure it out to the best of the spirit of the thing. And if the people don't like what we're putting out, then we'll get flack and potentially change things. What should happen if, when bots or people choose to fight a proposal by ignoring it? For example, what happens to people who choose to bot in Modern despite efforts? Do we plan to ban bots or just make them work around blocks? Yeah, I mean, that's some of the complication that happens here. And if it passes, we got to kind of work through those things. I'm not sure that we all have the answers, and I don't think I can answer that briefly in a very short question period. Would the centralized filtering services be made aware that they would be participating in a distribution of security disruption? Maybe. What happens if they decide they don't want the risk, and what happens if they block people from jurisdictions like the US from participating? Centralized filtering services. I'm not sure what that means. Oh, like Cloudflare. Would they be participating in a distribute? I don't even know how to answer this. Bitcoin Sick, maybe you can rewrite that, and I'll give some leeway on that question, or we'll put it up there for next time. Frito-Lay is asking, given the momentous occasion, debate, and impact of Proposal 28, can the team please consider creation of a promo card, whether proposal passes or not? This would be an important moment in time for the game, much like the bear market and Artemis the Bear was. I would like to suggest the same genre of the NFT you can win in the presidential circuit public tournament currently up. Thank you for considering this during an important and passionate time for the community. The last time that there was a community promo card, that came from a DAO thing, a DAO vote. So if you guys want that, the company's not just going to like randomly make things that we think the DAO might want. It's going to be based on actual DAO votes. So Frito-Lay, if you want to see the DAO suggest that we do something, that requires you to write a promo, or not a promo, a DAO vote. Can we ban bots from brawls and tournaments only? I mean, we can do lots of things. You won't be shocked by my answer, Sticky Hick. You got to go and actually put together proposals that the DAO can vote on and get something specific enough so that the company could write code to do just that. Clayboyne's asking, when do we get more ag hugs? We're going to try to get some physical meetups, and I'll get you guys all salt shakers and ag hugs. N20 question, take the bots out for Modern. How will that affect the wait time for ranked battles in Modern? I imagine it will get longer. Is there? I don't think there's any way around that until we have the next round of explosion of when the game kind of blows up again. Question: if a guild has multiple guilds in their guild structure, like for example Team Possible, what if I go from one TP guild to another? Would the guild points have to leave the guild, or could there be a larger bank for a bigger guild?
I'll take this one. So when you contribute guild points to the buildings, there will be a little checkbox that you can check that allows you to donate those guild points to the guild, so that if you were to leave, you won't get them back. So that could be an option if you're helping to set up multiple guilds with some kind of account for that purpose. Or if your guild has some criteria that says, okay, we don't want our members to get any points back, we're going to make them do it this way. So that will be an option for people that want that.
The hardest thing, so this is Drop Bear Jim. The hardest thing of troubles with the freeloaders that are in the guild constantly getting the benefits but not paying in there to the key contributions to the building. Is there a way to get it automatically done so it comes out of the SBS and it gets transferred to the building so the guild leaders don't have to chase them? They want like a curation reward.
A guild bank. They want to be able to make it so that it just automatically debits out SPS, so you don't have to shake people down for their lunch money. We want to be able to look at that. I can't say that we're doing it because we haven't confirmed exactly what we're doing with the guild buildings, but it was one of the most requested features when we did our big guild player survey. So that definitely is on the team's radar. That's the most that I can say.
Omega Splinter's asking question, why deny the fact that player retention is not great? Come on, man. I know so many players selling shop and leaving, and I love this game and have gone so deep in it for 2 years. If you can show me the numbers that proves retention is amazing and not trash, please show me, I beg you. Yeah, why don't we get Liam on? He recently presented to the board, and he kind of left them a little bit slack-jawed and stunned. So I'll get Liam back on, and he can go share all the numbers with you guys. Retention's actually pretty high, and especially for having been in a bear market, I think it's exceptional. So, this feels more like FUD to me than anything else. I think we've actually done pretty amazing given, I know I say this and some people hate me for this, and I don't care because this is what I believe and this is what I'm sticking to. But Jerome Powell has gone and shoved up the highest rate hikes, the fastest in maybe not history, but in like 4 decades. These are some of the worst financial conditions a company, especially a small company like ours, could handle. And actually, we are. It's not like we're making tons of progress, but to me, it's like swimming in a riptide and you stay in spot like that in the same spot. That to me is a giant accomplishment. And I know it won't feel that way for the players because it's not like we've grown exponentially or something in that time. But my God, the fact that we're still here, we're still functional. This place is littered with the corpses of failed projects, but not us. We're still growing. We're still building. We still got our core talent of our team. I think we're doing amazing. And, That to me feels like FUD, and I will go answer it with numbers by proxy when I can get Liam back on. And he says he'll be here next week. So give me a week and we'll have him answer that. Question: does Cloudflare track how many failures it processes? More often than not, I have problems with it timing out and failing before it verifies me. I don't know the answer to that question. I don't know that anybody will until we actually get it. Deck B for stones. I think that might be a Mancer thing. What do you think about Deck B for the guild stones?
Yeah, I don't see any reason why not. Deck or Deck B for that could work. So that's something we can put on the backlog.
All right. And I don't know if I'm looking to see if Bitcoin SIG, yeah, he changed it down at 1009. Many services don't want to touch crypto. Using a service that is allowing or blocking people from the distribution of SPS during this phase of its life cycle puts them as a centralized arbiter of who is able to participate. They could potentially decide that they don't want to allow US citizens to participate in using its services because it touches SPS, which could be a security. Yeah, I mean, if Cloudflare turns out that like they're going to block all US users, that is not the point of what we're going after, and that would not be an acceptable solution. So that to me would be sort of an extreme case. If the extreme case is what happens, then we'll find a different provider or a different route. And maybe we'll have to go back to the DAO and say, hey, the plan that we meant to go on doesn't seem like it'll work, and we'll have to figure something else out. But that's not what I'm currently running into or what I'm hearing. So we'll deal with that when we get there. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Thanks everybody for your questions and your time. I'm going to take maybe a 5-minute break here, and after that break, we're going to go play some Dark Country. We'll be in one of these general chat rooms or the voice channel there. I'm sure that we'll go post something so that people can find us. But if you want to go tune into Dark Country, it'll be in about 5 minutes. Thanks to everybody on the team. Thanks to Ali, who did a fantastic job and has supported us all the way through. Thanks for your time. Thanks for being here. Thanks for the tough questions, and love to you all. Thanks to this community, and we'll be back next week. And hopefully you guys dig the promo card that's both a legendary life and a legendary death. And you guys will want to collect that starting tomorrow. Thanks, guys.
Chaos reigns and hope is lost. When your darkest days aren't saved by the dawn, we bring the light to help guide the way. We are with you. We are the Rift Watchers. Have spread far and wide. When you're out of places to run and hide, follow the runes. Help is on the way. We stand with you.